And I decided to make it a special edition. I have the usual suspects in the. Sorry, I have my friends and my colleagues in the studio, right,
No,
to do this with me. Samson Eze and Ginika Oloha.
no problem.
Glad to have you guys join me
No
this morning
problem.
He
rather.
said he decided.
on
I mean, we
The-
decided to help you.
That's how you decided to end your year by calling us your friends, suspects.
You see, I told you let's resume the fireworks.
Hostility.
He said that's Gaza Strip. You see that Gaza, the Israeli and the Palestinian. We will resume. That
no,
hostility
no,
will
there is
The
continue.
year
Ceasefire
you
now.
finally became number one.
There is
You still
ceasefire.
cannot respect
Well,
your
after
elders.
I fired my campaign manager. That's one that is
Next year you will fail, and that gift they gave you, they will retrieve it.
They will retrieve it.
So
That
let
TV
we have so
collect.
much
You're not
this morning. Of course, 2021 came with a blinding ray of hope, and it was the year after the coronavirus pandemic lockdown. Then we had Omicron. There is a new one, another variant now that is not that popular as we speak, but then you get to know much more about that in the year 2022. As much, but let's begin the conversation. Look at some of these events. Let's begin with the Twitter ban. You know, the federal government suspension of the Twitter activities in Nigeria. That was in the month of June. It raised uproar, and of course, the election of Mr. President's tweet that condemned attacks on police stations, prisons, and the offices of the Independent National Electoral Commission in the Southeast, with a warning to perpetrators of such violence that many deemed improper and insensitive. You know, then the phrase of the dots in the nation now, you know, and clothes came in, and well,
Yes. Well, it came with such huge surprise because we weren't expecting it. I think it's in the fallout of the NSAS
exactly.
protest. I'm sure you have that story. The NSAS, one of the landmark events that happened within the year, the youths decided to take their own destiny in their hands, made a statement, and then the federal government, over time, has always expressed dissatisfaction with the way social media is being used to criticize Mr. President. And I remember at a time when former President Goodluck Jonathan said that he was the most criticized president in the world, but Buhari could not take it. Lai Mohammed went all out. NBC rules had to be rejigged. And then social media bill, you remember that infamous social media bill, I don't think it sailed through to the final stage from the parliament and all that. But the peak, the hallmark, was the ban on Twitter. So with that, there was this doubt whether it is possible for the federal government, for a national government, to restrict the use of Twitter within its nationality. I think that has been put to bed. It is actually possible. Talks are ongoing, but I know that the regulations that they are mounting, it's somehow unattainable because Twitter is expected to even pay tax to Nigerian government, and they probably have their office so that if you try to delete Mr. President's tweet again, maybe
delete your platform.
Maybe the DSS maybe they will push the
some
bulldozer
Nigerians
toward
are of the
edifice.
opinion that all these are pointing to one direction, gagging the freedom of expression in Nigeria. I don't know how you want to.
It was the
react to that.
popular. It was the most popular medium available to ordinary Nigerians when they cannot find their voice from the mainstream media. They take to social media, and Twitter was one platform that could take their voice out of the shores of this country. But we have to find something else.
Yeah, of course, there are other platforms, but it appears that Nigerians, especially the young Nigerians, actually find joy using that particular platform. But for the fact that it has been officially banned in Nigeria, at the background, Nigerians still make use of it. But for some of us in the traditional media, radio, television, and the rest of them, we are officially banned from using it, especially to do some of our programs here. But I remember on the 1st of October this year, the president, during the broadcast, to nationwide broadcast, he said, yes, he has given orders for the ban on Twitter to be lifted, if only they have been able to meet all the conditions, outlined by the federal government. Well, everybody was so excited, at that announcement, and we were expecting to see probably after some few days, we'll see Nigerians start enjoying that particular platform. But up to this moment, Lai Mohammed will keep telling
billions have been lost.
Lai Mohammed will tell us that yes, they are still meeting. In fact, that they've met all the conditions and the rest of them. So what is holding it? Why are we not seeing Nigerians make use of it officially everywhere? Why are we still not having it? That is a question for to be answered some other day. We just hope that in 2022, hopefully, that something will have to be done in that regard. But Nigerians want that particular platform because that's where you can gather support.
Do you think Nigeria will lift Twitter ban in 2022?
I just hope so, because that's where Nigerians can easily communicate, gather support, galvanize support for, especially for, to articulate their ideas and present it before the government. If you remember, like you rightly pointed out, Samson, the issue of NSAS, that was where it started.
Yeah.
And the thing snowballed into something that was about consuming the whole nation. But now that the elections are coming up, except the government, have something else that we do not know, I think the issue of ban on Twitter should be lifted. Let Nigerians start enjoying that platform, because that will conscientize the people, so that people will know the right leaders to vote for, and will let us marshal out our
and those
own,
to vote out.
Exactly. Let us move in one direction and make that revolution in 2023. And it will start in
the issue of
2020.
regulation also is very important on the part of Twitter as a company, as an incorporation. If you check some of the tweets on that platform, they go unregulated sometimes, in fact threatening the corporate existence of Nigeria. If you check it very well, you're very conversant with that platform, Ginika.
Sure, that's why the federal government actually came up with some of the issues. We don't really know the terms and conditions they've given to Twitter. The only ones we know is that they must pay taxes and that they must have office here in Nigeria and some other ones. But we don't know the other ones that they didn't tell us. They should be able to tell us those things that Twitter should meet, and every other social platform. After all, the Facebook is still there.
Yeah.
Instagram is still very much running, and the rest of them.
Twitter in Nigeria is very, very suspect. As Twitter deleted the violent tweets that Nnamdi Kanu has been sending, has it? The same Twitter during the NSAS program that was funding NSAS protesters was the first to withdraw, to close the account of former president of US, Trump.
All right, gentlemen, let's move on. We have more stories for you, some of those stories that shaped our country as a nation. That's talking about Nigeria. Let's talk about the Electoral Act Amendment Bill. It is still a developing story as we speak. I followed up the conversation this morning on the newspaper headlines where Femi Gbajabiamila, the Speaker of the House of Reps, said, well, we are going to delete that contending clause from the electoral bill. Maybe, just maybe, Mr. President will sign it into law. This is not the first time the President is declining assent to the electoral bill, twice in 2018, once in 2019, and this year, 2021, he has declined assent despite the workings, despite the rigorous process of getting that bill to Mr. President's table. And I think the contentious clause here is clause 87 about direct and indirect primary. Don't forget the debate, the intrigues that that played out during the debate, the issue of network or no network when they were looking at the electronic transmission of results. Gentlemen.
Genika, you're very conversant with this Igbo proverb that has to do with the hand of monkey in a soup.
Okay.
If you don't remove it early enough,
Because it turns out to be a human hand.
Michael, you may not understand. Oh, don't worry.
Now English we speak now. How you know to understand?
I understand now. Just say I won't understand.
The truth is that I have always said it here that particular controversial clause inserted into that bill was an ego fight, an ego war between the governors and the lawmakers. The lawmakers see it as the most assured way of having a return ticket, if they so deserve, to Abuja without having to be very loyal to the structures that their governors control in their different states. So they had to take care of themselves, sort themselves out in Abuja without looking for anybody's help. But the governors have been talking with Mr. President, and the governors are very strong entity in the present dispensation, in the reality of the kind of democracy we practice in Nigeria. The governors are strong entities because on the whole, the governors control the biggest critical mass of support base, interest blocks at different levels. The governors can actually fail a president. They did it to Jonathan, and I'm sure APC is very mindful of that.
It's because of the resources they control.
Because of the resources and the poverty in the land. Because first of all, they impoverish you and make you come begging for crumbs, and they give you and you glorify them, and you would want to maintain that structure, that source where the crumbs come from. So that is just it. As it is now, even if they are going to remove that clause, let us not lose sight of the bigger picture. The bigger picture here is that we have to move our electoral process electronically, because that's where the world is moving towards. We're done with all this manual accreditation, manual process of voting, and then adjudication of whether server exists or not. So let's have our system electronically done, and then network or no network.
Okay, but something I saw one headline that I think they were quoting Garba said the president was not going to sign that electronic because of the electronic transmission of votes and the rest of them. So many local governments do not have access to internet and the rest of them, and we keep wondering. So it's not even only indirect primaries we are talking about, or direct primaries. It appears that the president also is not comfortable with the issue of electronic transmission of results. So, but when all these things happen, you keep wondering, our leaders, what kind of leaders do we have in the country? Before now, they said the president had contested for like 3 times and he failed. And at every time he failed, he approached the court saying that he was rigged out, that the electoral process was flawed and the rest of them. Now you have what it takes to rewrite that history, to change the process, to make it more credible, and you're not doing it. Why? Okay, by the time you leave office now, probably some other person steps in, and the person decides to toe the same line. You will be there shouting, do this and do. Now you have the platform to do it, you will not do it. That is the basic thing, where the issue we are having with our leaders. I think every country right now is towing the path of electronic transmission of results. In fact, electronic voting. Let us forget about the direct primary and the rest of them. What about, let us make this thing credible, so that we will reduce the litigations that always arise each time there's election in this country. Pre-election litigation and post-election litigation.
Okay,
these things arise because of a flaw.
Let me get your reactions. What do you expect from this Electoral Act Bill 2022? It's a developing story. When they return from their recess, both chambers of the National Assembly, they will definitely sit.
Now, you see, the controversy was well calculated, neatly arranged. Neatly arranged. I mean, the president had to delay, waited till the last minute to say something, and he had to travel to Turkey, and by the time we're waiting for Baba to come back, time was already gone, and it was close to the nick of time when the National Assembly, when the Parliament was already headed for a recess, and the implication is that they would have more time to discuss behind the curtain. They would have more time to reach a compromise or agree on things that would flow at the end of the day. But now, what do I expect? I expect that probably the National Assembly, populated by APC members, you remember, direct primary option should not be an issue for APC, because it's the system that they are already used to. But the people who are supposed to kick in support of this and ensure that the president signs, it should be the PDP in the House of in the National Assembly. But PDP members are against the direct primary. Do you get the point now? The PDP lawmakers are against it. And then who is for the rec primary? APC lawmakers against their governors. So, as it is now, a compromise could be reached. And if the president had just one problem against that bill, he would have signed it, like the Petroleum Industry Act, sign it and send it and return
for
it for amendment. But it appears like you said, Ginika, this is just a way of giving the dog a bad name because you want to send it to the hangman. Well done. We expect compromise.
It's really sad, honestly.
It's sad.
If you remember, some time ago, I listened to President Jonathan. That was a few months ago. He was saying that the National Assembly should go ahead and approve the electoral transmission of.
Then when he had the opportunity, what did he do?
He didn't do it. So that's why I'm saying that tomorrow, if President Buhari leaves office and someone else steps in, and this same thing keeps playing out, it will still be the one that will say, "Do it." Now you have the opportunity to do it. You are not doing it.
Let's move on to some other stories.
Pushing all these things. It's really sad.
We're still going to talk about the arrest of Nnamdi Kanu. Of course, the clampdown of some secessionists in the country, in the southwest, Igboho, in the southeast, Nnamdi Kanu. But then let's move on to some other stories. This morning, the platform were reviewing those stories that shaped the nation in the year 2021.
Mr. President and my colleagues, I'm coming. I'm going to vote. Every member of this Senate believes in electronic voting and electronic. Allow me. You cannot shut me down. For God's sake, you can't shut me down. Unless you want us to sleep here. You cannot shut me. You cannot shut me down. It's either you allow me to talk or we will stop here. I vote because there are no coverage in my village. There is no coverage in my village. Senator Baribe knows that there is no coverage where we come from. I don't want anybody to make a political point where we come from. There is no coverage, as such, I vote no.
All right, let's move on to some other stories that shaped the nation. Now to security. Very, very interesting. Let's talk security.
How were you able to connect the studio from Atari?
No, the network has improved, I suppose.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's talk security. We saw the attack on the Nigeria Defense Academy, then down to the loss of one of the army chiefs in the country, and of course the shooting down of planes by terrorists in the country, which has not happened in a long time. It has gotten to the situation where they have rockets to shoot down planes, fighting insurgency in the northern part of the country. And the biggest one was the attack on the Nigerian Defense Academy. Do not forget, months after President Muhammadu Buhari appointed new service chiefs to rejig the security architecture of the nation, one of the army chiefs died in that ill-fated crash. Gentlemen of the press, let's look at the security situation in the country before we move on.
Well, I think we are still where we are. We've not made any. We've not made much progress.
Lieutenant General Ibrahim Atahiru, the Chief of Army Staff.
From that time till now, I don't think we've made much progress. The bandit issue we're having then, they are still very much prevalent, even up to this moment. But my question is this: what about those Tucano jets that the federal government purchased? Several. I think like 7 of them.
Yeah.
They imported. They brought in. That they said immediately the thing landed here in Nigeria, that will be the end of insurgency in the country. That will be the end of banditry in the country.
Already.
Okay, so where are they making use of it? The Federal High Court some time ago made a pronouncement, and proscribed the bandits. They said that they are terrorists. I don't know what is happening. I expected that as soon as that proclamation was made by the court, I expect that our security agencies will have the leeway to move straight and flush these people out. But up to this moment, I think a part of Niger State have been taken over by the these same bandits we're talking about. Don't forget that it's still very much prevalent, still in Borno State, Yobe, and some part of Adamawa State. And we are also having invasion from another country, from the Taraba axis of this country, the Amazonian.
Amazonian.
So we are still having issues, security issues in this country. I expect that, in 2015, they came with this idea that since the people that have been leading the country, apart from the President Obasanjo, the other ones have been civilians, so they were not able to manage the security situation. They said President Buhari, who has been, a general and the rest of them, he has what it takes.
Are you saying
to
so much
quell
gains,
whatever
so much
issues we are
gains have
having.
not been made in the past?
We have
12
not
months.
made much progress.
No
Yes,
gain.
Nothing
Okay,
practical.
I want something to take it from the angle of the push for regional security outfits.
Okay.
The Amoteku in the southwest and the Ebubiagu
Okay,
in the southeast.
before then,
Okay.
you see, Abubakar Shakao reportedly died somewhere in the fringes of Sambisa Forest. Then Boko Haram splintered into groups. Then we have ISWAP, a breakaway faction of Boko Haram that has become very poisonous, very, very, very terrific in their operation. And then federal government is saying they've been degraded, they cannot launch wide-scale attack again, and then they are all targeting they're all going for soft targets. Soft targets of who? Human beings. Soft targets of who? Nigerians. Full-blooded Nigerians. Nigerian territories are under siege, and then you're saying you have defeated
Then
Boko Haram.
school
Then-
children
then
that were
school-
kidnapped
School
too,
children
those
are
university
taken.
students
School
and the
children
like.
are taken in droves. You're talking about
Greenfield
Greenfield
University.
University students. You are talking about what's the other one in Katsina State,
It's even in Sokoto. That,
even in Sokoto and
a
everywhere.
lot of them were
and
killed and the rest of them.
and in Kaduna State has become kidnap heaven, a heaven for bandits. And Sheikh Abubakar Gumi, the lead protagonist, is playing his scripts fully, and upon that declaration by that court that bandits have become terrorists. We expected the federal government to follow suit and make that proclamation, but the presidency said there's a process. Then let's go back to some regions that decided to look for self-help. I mean, some self. You remember the Amoteku in the southwest.
That one is flourishing.
It's flourishing.
Yeah.
And then you're talking about the resolve of the southwest governors. They spoke with one voice, and they were able to have Amoteku going. Then down here in southeast, Ibubago.
It's in Ebonyi State. What is that? You're laughing now.
Ibubago.
Is it not functional in Ebonyi State? They just launched it. 2 days
Ibubago,
ago.
oh my people.
Why you doing like
Why they do this the way they do? No good. No good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This thing we do.
Where's
But we in Abia State we
where-
have one. They are all in the bushes.
They,
Where-
they
where's
bought
Freddy?
bicycles for them. and they have
Ibubago
phones where they use in
is
Smami.
southeast.
Yes.
More like a concept, a state of the mind of our governors who felt traumatized.
After the idea was stolen
They
by
felt,
those in the
our
southwest.
governors felt traumatized of what was happening in the aftermath of the end SARS, and our governors thought of a concept, a theory of
Can we
Yeah,
move
we
on?
are still having kidnap issues in Southeast, even in Abia State.
Yeah,
oh my God.
But the government official told us here that those Ibubago officials, they are inside the bush. Could it be that those are the ones doing the kidnapping? Because it appears so. Because how can you have
Oh,
Ibubago people inside the bushes, and these people will come from the bush and still pick people, run back into
Okay.
and you still have the Ibubago there.
Maybe they are
okay
not
for
in this
okay
part
for
of the-
checks
Ah,
for
okay.
checks. His name is Ginika Oloha.
Can we move on, please?
Because
Let's-
do you know one person that I believe
Who?
as far as this matter is concerned? General Obi Umahi, the elder
when
brother,
he resigned,
the elder brother
said they were
to
not
the
funded.
governor of Ebonyi State, who is equally the chairman of Southeast Governors Forum. He said that the governors are not serious about having a regional security outfit.
the southeast governors.
The Southeast governors, and I believe him. For that your statement, his name is Ginika Oloha.
Anyway,
He's quite-
gentlemen, you are forgetting the several prison breaks that we had. The jail breaks that we had. we had one in Owerri.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then the Edo States. And
Kogi,
Kogi,
Kodonkarfi,
I think Kogi, it was twice in Kogi.
Yes, we had in
Yes.
Kodonkarfi, we had in Kaba, and just 2 in Kogi, and then we had in Jos.
We had it. It started in Owerri, if you remember. That was Easter Monday.
1,844
Easter Monday in Owerri,
yes.
and that was what culminated into what we had as unknown gunmen. If you remember,
Yes,
the
yes.
unknown gunmen thing and the killing, the issue of Gulag being killed, some other people being killed in the southeast, and the thing, spread into other parts of the country, jailbreaks and the rest of them. It's really terrible. I think we have a lot to do in 2022.
A lot to do indeed. Let's listen to Abdullahi Shinkafi. He's a politician.
This belt to make sure that no matter your statute, if you have been found wanting for aiding and abetting, equipping, financing crime and criminality, it should be brought to.
It is still the platform special edition, even as we're counting down to the year 2022. Of course, we have about 10 hours, 9 hours to go. But then we're still looking at some of those stories that shaped Nigeria as a nation. The arrest of Nnamdi Kanu, of course, the family member of Nnamdi Kanu came out and said he was arrested in Kenya. Nigeria government kept silent on that. Interpol also, with the help of Interpol, he was arrested. And the clampdown on secessionists in Nigeria. Don't forget Igboho's travels also in the southeast. He's still in Benin Republic till date. Sunday Igboho's travels in southeast, and also the resultant effects. At some point, it was sit at home back to back in the southeast. Mondays, in fact, some cities in southeast still obey this sit at home, the regular Monday sit at home. So much to talk about in the year 2021, talking about secessionist movement, the IPOB, the Yoruba Nation, and the results, the ripple effects of these clampdown by the federal government.
Yeah, the thing was actually good. It still boils down to the issue of insecurity we were talking about.
Okay.
They have some kind of correlation, because if you remember, it was after the jailbreak in Owerri and the thing spread into other parts of the country. Then we had the issue of unknown gunmen. From there, the issue of secession. Then the one that we have in Southwest, the Yoruba agitation, and eventually the arrest of the 2 people who were actually leading both groups. And that is where we are at this point. Up to this moment, like you talked about, the issue of a sit at home on Mondays, I don't think that has abated. It's still ongoing.
You can't.
In some
if you're going for any activity, maybe business activity,
on Mondays, especially in Southeast,
in Aba to be precise,
Yeah.
Indonesia, you may not get it done on Mondays.
Yeah, even in Umuahia, in some parts of, if you go to some parks in Umuahia on Mondays, you may not, and you want to leave the town, you may not be able to get vehicle that will do that for you. So it's still very much. I think it's only now that we are having the Christmas festivities that it appears that people have forgotten. Probably by the time they come back next year, they will resume their normal sit at home. But since the matter is still in court, I think we should allow it rest.
Okay, but then I think the takeaway from the whole thing here is that we have to look at why the people choose to obey probably what the government termed a group, just a group, so to speak, a group. I mean, the governors said, go about your normal businesses, there's security for you and you could see them, but the roads would be empty. The people choose to sit at home. These are the things we need to look at. Are people losing confidence in their own government?
The confidence is ongoing.
The trust deficit is widening, and we need to look at it carefully. And for the government's, federal government's option and tactics of quelling the secessionists and the agitations from southwest, southeast, and south, and all that, sometimes may not be the best. You have to go through the way of dialogue, because we are said to be practicing democratic system of government.
Yeah.
So get everybody on board. You cannot go into war against your own people as a government. We can talk. Let's talk it over.
All right.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Shidek Sobani. Yesterday, I was trying to send a voice note to some of my friends in Owerri about some people shooting gun. And I made a little mistake. And now the voice note has gone viral. And people actually think I can't speak good English. Please, that was just a mistake. I was trying to tell my friends that on gun, men gun, on gunmen, on forget about the people shooting the gun, but at least I did my best to.
Anyway, he became very popular with the
You get it?
unknown gunmen issued in the year. Worth mentioning is the appointment of our own Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, the former Minister of Finance, who flew the Nigerian flag very high when she was appointed the Director General of the World Trade Organization. So let's talk about Abba Kyari and the hush puppy scandal. We've not heard so much about that, despite it was in the news. He was very popular, gentleman of the press.
Nigeria is a very dramatic country. We are faced with lots of things. So even sometimes in the days of Obasanjo, sometimes they stage all this distraction. It gets so hot, buzzwords, left, right, center. They drop one distraction and people forget about it. That was for that moment. Hush puppy, that report has been concluded. Oh yeah, show us. What did you find out? No way. Present it. The IG said he's going to send it to the presidency. Nothing. Is Abba Kyari back? There was a time it was reported that Abba Kyari had been recalled back to duty. The police denied it. The first PRO denied. But right now, what is the state of things? Hush puppy is still doing his time in US, and Abba Kyari still on suspension. Has he been dismissed? We don't know.
I'm just thinking about the image.
He's one of the best cops that we have in Nigeria.
But that's not the issue here, because I know that even if you are the best journalist, just like you are number one now, if it's alleged that you've committed any crime, of course you go
Why
in for
are you
it,
using
right?
me as an example?
Because you are number one. I'm not number one. You are number
not
one.
loyal.
I'm your personality of the year. Easy. So tomorrow, if it's
Like
alleged that
harass
you are-
us like
if tomorrow it's alleged that you, of course, you go in for it. That he is the best cop. He's the best cop doesn't make him
I agree with Ginika.
for the very first time. For the very first time, you are agreeing to something reasonable. Now, what we are saying is this: Abba Kyari, I think the police and the federal government need to do the needful by allowing justice to run its full course. If the man has been indicted in any way, they should allow him to go and answer. If eventually he is found not guilty, he should be allowed to return to his duty. It's as simple as that, because the law shouldn't be scared of anybody. Anybody that is found to be culpable in any way should go in for it. It's as simple as that.
All right, quickly, we need to throw the lines open. We have so much to talk about, but do not forget the Anambra election, the November 6th Anambra elections. They grabbed headlines as the main political parties in the state competed fiercely to win the number one position in the state. And the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Charles Chukwuma Soludo, emerged the winner, beating Andy Uba, who unfortunately wasn't on the ballot according to what we have on ground now from the court. And he ran on the platform of the All Progressives Congress. However, Soludo's victory, which recorded only 4.5% of registered voters, is the lowest so far in this nation's electoral history. So much gains and also so much gaps also. We need to learn ahead of the 2023 general election, maybe ahead of the Ekiti election that will take place next year, off-season election also.
You see, the bookmakers didn't even give the election a chance. It appeared like that election would not even hold. Anambra became one strange place that nobody even wanted to visit.
That was the height of the unknown government, and after that we didn't hear about it.
We didn't hear it also. It was all political, because the push was to ensure that the election did not hold. And we are connecting this matter again to the tactics, the strategy by the federal government in discussing or trying to stop secessionists and all that. because that was what gave rise to that. Some groups said this election would not hold, and even when Michael here got the accreditation and Casey, they all chickened out as usual. I know Genica wouldn't have even made the move. But
no, I was the one encouraging them. But
you encouraged me not to go.
Because you said you were going to die.
I didn't
I
say
said
I was
don't
going
go
to
and
die.
die.
Come on.
That was what you told me. That you were scared of dying. I don't know, even if you die now, did you die early?
But as the chief correspondent, you were supposed to at
I was
least
supposed to
lead
be
from
in
the
the
front.
front.
No,
Lead from the front.
He encouraged me
I
not
was
to
supposed
go.
to be in the newsroom.
Why?
Getting reports from my correspondents all over the
That's-
place. Just
that's-
like Pinnacle.
That's by the way.
Why he chickened out?
That's by the way. Now, that election, we had so much gaps, like you pointed out, Michael.
Yeah.
The voter apathy, induced by insecurity, induced by the fear of the unknown, actually made people not to come out to vote. And the outcome of the election is another story. It's a story of the determination of the people to reject a certain system. And if the other parties that performed abysmally in that election think that they are so strong, they need to think about their lives. Yes, I'm very serious here, especially APC, because going into that election, APC was broken, splittered, into factions, and they never agreed that they were not okay until Chris Ngige, who is a ranking member of APC, who's been in that party for a long time, a minister of the Federal Republic, said that they do not have a candidate. And then you're looking at, I'm just pointing out the headlines. You're looking at the unsuccessful attempts of the Ubas,
From both ends.
to have a shot at that government house outing. The closest that the Ubas got was when Andy won that election that he stayed for 1 month before Peter Obi continued his fairy tale. But here we are. Professor Soludo has got the mantle now. But again, the godfatherism factor in Anambra doesn't last. It doesn't last. You go back to Oba Chris Ngige. How long did it take?
All right.
A jolly right to get the vote. Then you're going back to Peter Obi and the governor now, Willie Obiano. How long did it take?
I'm sure
so I'm very sure.
And Soludo, the pact will not last.
We need to draw the lines open. Don't forget, it wasn't a very good year for sugar daddies, looking at Chidima Ojukwu and Usifo Ataga. But anyways, the lines are very much open. 0808 182 6949, 0811 605 2949. You can also drop messages on 0906 510 8289. Let's look at the year 2021 together. Glad to have you join us. Welcome to the platform.
Good morning, Michael.
You're welcome. Good morning.
Of the press.
Yeah.
My name is Enoch Ibu Ekuru, a native of Okulukumu Susulu. Twitter ban was aimed at judging the media. Imagine the huge amount of money lost ever since then. As for security, considering the attack on the military headquarters, incessant adoption of public people, including students from their schools, killings, sometimes people being burnt alive, shooting down the military aircraft, and many others, substantiate the fact that insecurity is still prevalent in the country. Contrary to Lai Mohammed's claim that the security has improved in his appraisal of the president. Our people say in Proverbs, something you put on as a watch, you don't need a mirror to see. So it is very, very clear that insecurity has not improved.
All right. Thank you very much. Hello. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael.
You're welcome. Good morning.
Yeah, this is good morning, our good and brilliant analyst in the house.
They are also saying good morning. Thank you very much,
This is Roman
Mama the Prophet.
From Oman. Who brought us this far? I know we all will see 2022 in Jesus' name. See, the one that shaped my youth, what really shaped this 2021 is the rejection of money for voting, which that woman in Anambra has just set a pace that is what is going to happen in 2023. Even if we are dying of hunger, by 2023, we will reject those people that will backmire us into economic suffering. I'm telling you, what is going to happen. So that is what shaped my year. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much for joining us. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael.
You're welcome.
Comrade Uche from Upper Avenue.
All right, comrade.
Good morning. Yeah, good morning, Samson and Ginika.
Good morning.
Thank you. My take this morning is on the issue of security. You see, in the year under review, APC federal government has failed Nigerians because this security issue, especially the banditry and the upsurge of different terrorist groups in the north, has different adverse effects on different sectors of the economy. You see, in Niger, Kebbi and Sokoto, these are areas that most of the grains come from. And today, farmers there cannot go to farm to carry out their farming activities. And it's unfortunate that the president has failed to reject the security architecture of this nation, despite the fact that his brothers, who he appointed in all security formation, has exhibited experience in handling the security affairs of this nation. I think going further, in the year 2022, the president needs to look for capable hands that can give Nigeria good security this thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining. Hello, good morning to you. Welcome.
Good morning, Michael.
You're welcome. Good morning.
Good morning, Samson and Jenica.
They are saying good morning also. Thank you for joining us.
I'm Victor Emmanuel Ndeboka. I'm calling from Amechi.
All right.
Let me just try to x-ray the various areas, gray areas that we had in 2021.
All right.
The issue of corruption. Magu, the EFCC chairman, his case, we are yet to know what has happened with him and the anti-corruption stance of the federal government led by Muhammad Buhari, what he has done with that. On the issue of Nnamdi Kanu, his arrest and other things, he mentioned using a political solution to that problem. So I expect that the political situation that we have to adopt is a referendum to know whether Biafra will come. We are just looking for independence. We don't want to war. We don't want a thing that will happen that Nigeria will not work very well. We want a peaceful separation from the state called Nigeria, because this is as a result of the manner in which the president has handled his administration as long as Nigeria is concerned.
All right.
On the other hand, we are looking at a situation where the electronic voting and direct election, that is the mind of every Nigerian, so that all of us will participate in the government of our people. Not a system that we see operating like a feudal system that was operated in Europe in the AD, 475 AD. That's the system that they are operating. The governors are lost. Let them allow the people to take responsibility of who should lead them. That's my contribution.
All right, thank you very much for your contribution. Hello, welcome to the platform.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen in the studio.
You're welcome.
My name is Eda Emeko, calling from Momo Wayambara, in Amos Ibe Autonomous Community. Please, let permit me to speak on the detention of Nnamdi Kanu. Federal government has been holding him, refusing to bring up proper allegations that he contradicts Nnamdi Kanu. Never. I want to let the federal government know and let them understand there is still 90 minutes in Interbe. What happened in Interbe may happen in Nigeria. They should release Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu has not done anything.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Hello, good morning to you. Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, please. Michael Oni, please. I just forgot something.
All right,
Please,
go
please,
on.
Lawman the President.
Okay.
Please, I just want our Interpol consultant in Nigeria, in Abia State, Mr. Chikudosi, to tell us if he was in the know of the adoption of Nnamdi Kanu or not, and what did he do about if he was consulted.
All right,
before Nnamdi Kanu
Lawman
was
the
adopted
Prophet.
to Nigeria.
Thank you very much. Let's run through the messages. There will never be a Bubiago so long as our governors. Okay, that's to the extreme. Good morning, gentlemen. The only thing mentioned by you is the position of Okonjo-Iweala and Soludo's victory. I don't know why Gumi has not been arrested after several negotiations with bandits. If it was in Southeast, they would have arrested him. Chinaza Jonah from Isalangwa North. This one says, good morning, Flow Analyst Rendezvous. God bless you, the three founders of the State of the Nation, Michael, Samson, and Ginika, for the good work you're doing there. God also bless your friends of the program, all the workers of Flow Radio. Thank you very much, Iroko. We do appreciate you. I need to step out of the studio already, but I do appreciate you for being part of the platform for the year 2021. It's been a very tortuous journey, but then we were victorious at the end of the day. Days of planning behind the scene, and of course just to ensure that you get the best from what is happening in the country, and of course you get informed even as we entertain you on some other programs right here on the Flow of Godson State. The team from Chinedu down to Stanley, of course the guys behind the visuals on the Facebook page, and all our streaming platforms down to YouTube and also Instagram. Of course, thank you very much for all you did for the program, the platform for the year 2021. And also Samson Eze, he's the producer of the program. So much of planning goes behind the scene of this program that I may not be able to go into the details. We do appreciate. Thank you very much, Samson. And also Ginika Oloha, also for your input every time we have that meeting and we get to sit together to think about what next to do. Of course, sometimes when we hit a brick wall, we do appreciate also Ginika for joining. Thank you very much for you. Of course, you're the biggest winner, of course, for the year 2021 for your participation, your comments on our Facebook page, on the SMS line, for spending your money to call the radio and share your thoughts on some of those issues. We do appreciate you. Thank you very much for being, for making the platform a program to listen to for the year 2021. Let's do it again next year. That's 2022. I will be here on Monday for the first edition of the program for a brand new year. We're still counting down to 2022. We have just 9 hours 21 minutes to go, even as some countries we have Kiribati also just entered the new year, and some other countries will follow suit. Thank you very much for joining me this morning on the platform. My name is Michael Oni. I wish you a wonderful 2022, of course a prosperous new year. Do enjoy the rest of your day.